Hey everybody, welcome to the Herd Fit podcast with Dr. Sam Rhee and myself, Coach David Syvertsen. This podcast is aimed at helping anyone and everyone looking to enhance their healthy lifestyle through fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset.
All right, welcome back to the Herd Fit podcast. I am Coach David Syvertsen here with Dr. and Coach Sam Rhee, and we have a repeat guest, our athlete, elite athlete, Joe Pierro, who I think less than 5 days ago just got done with the 2022 Granite Games, and he was very nice enough to come on not even a week after the competition, just give us some feedback, reflect on it a little bit. First thing, thank you so much for coming on, and proud of you for what you did last week.
Yeah, thank you. It was definitely a big learning experience out there.
Yep. First of all, how's the body feeling physically?
Body's not feeling too bad. I feel pretty great. I'm just taking some time off.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the first things I want to ask is how does someone like you start to view it? You still have a lot of reflecting to do, and we'll get into it during this podcast. But when a lot of common question is, when do you start training again, and what's the intensity like going to be?
I came up with an outlook with my coach yesterday. We talked on the phone. Just going to come back nice and easy starting next week. Nothing crazy, just getting moving again, just because obviously working out is a lifestyle. So just not going to take too much time off.
Okay.
What was it like? So give us your first overall experience, like gestalt, like how you felt being there as an elite athlete with these guys.
You know, just seeing everybody through the years on TV or live stream, it was kind of like, oh wow, like I'm in this. Like I felt like a little fish in a big pond. Yeah, it was serious out there. Just seeing the athletes, obviously you see over the years, and then you competing against them, you're almost like a little overwhelmed. And like I said, like in the local competitions, able to get comfortable. I guess it's also one day, but being out there, I felt like I literally was a little fish in a big pond out there.
Yeah, big pond. The top five were Brent Fikowski, Phil Toon, Travis Mayer, Sam Kwant, Colton Mertens. Those were the ones that made it. Those weren't even the ones that, like, there were a whole bunch of elite athletes that didn't make it out.
Yeah, you look at Chandler Smith, Matt DeLugos, Timothy Paulson, Anthony Davis, Marquand Jones. Like, all these guys did not make the games.
It's crazy.
And those are guys that Joe and I both have watched on live streams on TV at the games, and it's. What was the just initial emotion when you saw these guys in person? Like, I know little fish, big pond. Do you think that made it a little extra nervous or a little bit more difficult to get going on that first event? Like, did you feel more nerves than you anticipated before that first event?
100%, especially being in Heat 1 on that first event and just knowing that they were following me up, just knowing that I have to put my best time out there or they're going to be right on my tail,
right?
Which exactly what happened. I got a little overwhelmed, moved a little too quick, too fast, got out of my comfort zone, did pretty much what I shouldn't have done, just fell behind and then just essentially went to panic mode and just let it out too quick.
Yeah. So let's talk about that first workout. It was the heavy handstand reverse Fran, which I remember talking about with you, the 9, 15, 21 barbell thrusters at 115, the handstand walks. The top times were Paulson, Toon, and Mertens at around 220 to 236.
Amazing.
And you finished at about 4 minutes flat. So you had your plan, you stuck to it?
No, I didn't. 9 round, I got 2 no reps in my thrusters, and I fell behind the pack there, and I was like, I said to myself, like, do I belong to be? Do I deserve to be here? So I picked up the handstand walk, went back right on the thrusters, and just started ripping. Just essentially getting out of my breathing pattern, out of my comfort zone a little too fast. And then that 15-foot handstand walk, I walked right out of my lane. So I got hit there with a no rep too. So I had to restart that.
Yeah.
And it's just a little overwhelming for the first event, or just a learning experience all in all.
That was probably I would say the highest skill workout of the weekend. Like, I know we can look into the ring muscle ups, but again, that wasn't something that was that fast. Like, a really high skill movement like handstand walks under fatigue, and you have to go.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of like concentration, and dare I even say, just experience at that kind of level of competition where it's really hard. Let's talk about that a little bit. Where you knew, we talked about this on the podcast 2 weeks ago. You knew that you had to stay within yourself on that workout. You get a couple no reps. What were the no reps for on the thrusters?
Thrusters was lockout.
Lockout, yeah. Because again, you're trying to go so fast, right? We talked about this so many times on this podcast. It's not always like you're trying to get by the judge. You're just trying to go super fast. And what what is the actual thought process when you see the guys next to you left? Because that's part of the environment of being in a live competition. Is you're going and you see guys in your peripheral starting to go on those handstand walks, and it's hard not to get nervous. It's hard to concentrate on the breathing, and that's where experience at that level comes in.
Yeah.
Is that one of the biggest takeaways that you're going to take forward from this?
Definitely. I started taking away as the weekend went on, just basically don't even look left and right.
Yep.
You got to play your own game.
Trust your fitness.
Yeah, the trust of fitness.
Now, when you look at it, you weren't that far. Like, you could take some positives away from that.
Yeah.
You finished 22nd, even with the no reps, even on the thrusters and with the lane moving out of it. Like, you have a lot of room that you could have really done a lot better on that, right?
Correct. Essentially, in an all good world, I would have hopefully been around 3 minutes if all went to plan, which is what I did in training.
Yeah. That was your third best event of the weekend. Yeah. So it wasn't anything you walk away disappointed from. It's just like a learning experience of, all right, why did I not get close to 3 minutes, 3:15? And it's something that's very fixable, but it comes with experience. Like, that's where I'm sure you and your coach have talked about this, where you can plan all this stuff out on paper, but you can't really simulate that environment of all this action going on around you. Also, the first event of the weekend, where from my experience, it's always the one that's the most nerve-wracking. And from that perspective, I think that's something that's going to help you in the future a lot.
Yeah, I agree completely. Especially going back and watching film,
right,
and just reliving it essentially, and just the thought process in the moment. I remember being in that 15 round of thrusters, literally saying, I'm here, like I'm here, like this is it. And it's like,
smile for the camera.
Yeah, it's like, all right, hit the gas pedal now, Joe. All right,
that's awesome, dude. Second event. The barbell complex that for those that don't know, every single semifinal, this is one of the events, and it's a complex of 3 cleans that are essentially touch and go, 2 front squats, and an overhead.
It's 3 attempts for max load.
This is where Joe got a lot of camera time, and I loved it. Dude, Joe, I was on vacation last week with my family, with my wife and son. And I watched every event. I wasn't able to watch every one live, but I made sure, like at nighttime when we settle things down, I was like, we're watching every single one of his events. And this was the one I was smiling ear to ear listening to them talk about you.
You are a goddamn beast. So Anthony Davis hit 355. Travis Mayer hit 335. Oh, Zachary Bunton hit 345. You hit 325, which was good enough for 8th place, and you looked good doing it.
Yeah,
really good doing it.
Now, did you hit 325 twice? So we got to talk about this.
Oh yeah, what happened? So what happened here?
Yeah. So what'd you do on the first lift?
305,
and then you went up to
325,
and then
315.
What?
Oh, you went backwards. That's right.
I went backwards.
So let's the math on plates. Like we joke about this at the gym all the time. It's not easy to do. And the plates that you're used to lifting at a gym like 201, it's like the black rubber plates. I think they have some comp plates there, right? Blues and greens and yellows, right? You guys had reds, and the reds are 55 pounds.
Correct.
And so I still to this day struggle with the math sometimes when I see reds on there. Like, you have to stop yourself for a second. Explain what happened there.
I had to take plates off in order to put more weight on.
Right.
So at that point, 325 was the max load I could get.
With the plates that you had?
With the plates that I had available. So I had to strip the exterior out.
Yes.
Put essentially from the greens to the yellows, which are 35s. I had to go from the 25s to the 35s. But on top of those 35s, I should have added a 10.
Oh, I see.
But I didn't.
Right.
And it was to the point where it was a second thought, because I doing the math. I said 335, 335, 335. I'm sitting on the plates to the judges, 335, 335. Take it off, put it on. I said 335, right?
And they agreed. They agreed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the judge also made the miscalculation.
Yeah, there was 2 judges in front of me, a female and a male. Yeah.
So 3 of you made the same mistake. I mean, you're not going to blame anything on the judges.
No, definitely. The weight wasn't lifted.
Right.
Just wasn't.
So it was 3 cleans, 2 front squats, and 1 jerk, all in one motion. How did that 305 feel, and then how did the 325 feel?
305 felt heavy coming out of warm-ups. You're just standing there for 15 minutes looking at each other.
15 minutes?
In the corral, yeah. Warm-ups went great. Warm-ups were hitting. I warmed up, ended with a 305 power clean front squat jerk. Kwant said, looking solid. and I just walked away after that note, because I was like,
yeah,
well, this is the opener.
Yeah. Joe the electrician from New Jersey.
Did you have a goal?
The goal was 335, 340. That was the goal.
And so at the time, before the Granite Games, the world record among the semifinals was 345, right?
Correct.
And I remember watching you do 325, and I looked at Ash. I'm like, that dude's got 345.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that and I was like, I hope he goes for it, because they were getting a lot of screen time. They're talking about the mullet.
Right.
It doesn't get more New Jersey than that. He's got his crop top on, and you were moving weight, bro. Like, it looked so smooth and easy. And I've been watching you lift for so long, and I'm like, dude, this guy's got it.
Was that adrenaline?
The 325, yeah, it was definitely adrenaline. I would even say the 305. Let's just say adrenaline the whole time, because I'm just deep breath and holding, and just it's going up.
Do you have a thought? Like, what are you thinking? Like, are you thinking something like keep your knuckles down, or like lock out, or whatever? Like,
my biggest thing is two things. Before I step on the platform, I just keep saying, people are here to see you hit this lift, right?
Yeah.
I just keep repeating that. I said, they want to see you hit this shit. They want to see you hit this shit over and over again.
Yeah.
And just trying to, like, because obviously you're like, what if I miss? What if I miss? But I just keep repeating that before I get on the platform. And then when I get there, I know the power cleans are going to happen. I know the power cleans are going to happen. And if they don't, I probably shouldn't even continue with the amount of leg stress dropping into a squat clean. So power clean was the only option. The second front squat, which I did get airtime on, was right into the jerk. So I locked the second front squat out.
Yep.
Used the absorption of the barbell into the dip and right up into the split jerk.
You started celebrating your jerk before you were even done with the lift.
Yeah.
You were out there, you're like, let's fucking go.
Because I as soon as I caught it, I knew that was the hardest part. I knew using the stretch reflex off that front squat into the jerk.
Yeah.
When I was locked out, I was just standing up.
It looked so good, dude. It really did.
It felt like 335.
So how did they notify? How did they notify you like that it was off? Like, I wonder if someone else not told on you, but reported it to them. Like, what was that process?
Sitting in briefing at 8 a.m. the next day.
Okay.
Our briefing was at 8 a.m. even though our event was at 4 p.m. So don't understand that. But briefing finishes up over the loudspeaker. Joe Pierro comes see the lady in the white shirt. Walk over to the lady in the white shirt.
What was your first thought when they're like, what do they need me for? Drug test?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking drug test. I was like, oh boy, they're not calling anybody else over. Like, what did I do? Like, I'm like, I thought it was because of sign-in, because you had to be there, because a lot of people didn't want to go because it's hours. It's 8 hours basically before your event.
Yep.
So
sucks.
I thought it was just for to sign in. Like, she just missed me.
Yeah.
So I get down there and there's two ladies. They stand there. They look at me. They go, "You only hit 315 or 325 total, right?" And I was like, "Huh?" They're like, "Yeah, your last lift wasn't 335. You know that though, right?" I said, well, that's news to me. I guess maybe that's why it went up so easy. And I was like, really? I was like, you're serious, right? And she's like, yeah, I thought you would have saw the comments. I was like, comments? Like, she's like, yeah, people were talking about it.
Oh, God.
So I guess people on the live stream caught it.
Yeah.
But even I went back because I was like, I didn't believe it. And I tried looking for like video proof, like to not believe it. But the video is so straight on that it looks like I did put the 10s on.
Right.
So I was like, did I?
Yeah.
But I found an angle where it just wasn't there.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, it makes sense now why that 335 went up so.
Because I remember after that first day, with like, if you had hit 335, like, and again, you want to avoid as many ifs, could, woulds, but I think you woke up that morning in what, 14th or something, right? Was it
11th?
11th.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like,
I almost made final eight.
I was like, holy cow!
That got real there.
And it's not like you went down that much. You went from 3rd place in that event to 8th place. So you were sitting in about, I think, was it 14th or 15th going into the second day after they made that change, or was it 19th?
Yeah, I'm sitting at 14th.
Yeah. So you start day 2 in the Minnesota mashup.
How does that feel to be in 14th place after day 1?
Feels real. Felt good.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, we made it. We belong here. Let's keep it going.
Do the athletes talk amongst each other at all, or no?
I was very not myself out there. There was definitely like the training camps talking to each other that I did realize. A lot of the top athletes have their coaches and they were just dialing in warm-ups and everything. I was just basically looking around for the most part and not talking to anybody because I was just like, everybody's in game mode.
Yeah.
Minnesota mashup, 10 wall ball shots, 50 GHDs, 20 wall balls, 40 single arm dumbbell overhead squats at 70 pounds, 30 wall balls, 30 ring muscle ups. I guess that was the key, the 30 ring muscle ups.
Yeah.
40 wall ball shots, 200 double unders, 50 wall ball shots, 10 dumbbell clean and jerks, time cap 20. Phil Toon, Brent Fikowski, and John Wood were the top 3 at 1707 to 1746 on that one. And you did, looks like 2252.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that one? That one, I watched that one. I saw a lot of high-level athletes look like they were crawling at the end of that workout.
Yeah, I was with them.
Yeah. was that the hardest one of the weekend? It was the longest one in terms of like all the mixed modal. Like I know the engine one at the end was a little bit longer, but
correct. Yeah, it was. I would say the last one was the hardest one. The sled one.
Yeah. Okay.
So the second to last one.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely for mixed modal, 100%.
Yeah.
Because we got to those 30 ring muscle ups, and
yeah. What did those feel like percentage wise?
I was almost tapped. I was
Okay.
almost tapped with just, I guess, the over exaggeration of lockout, because the head judge kept coming over to me, lock your reps out, and then I'm there like. Once I took a break, it was 30 seconds. And it was crazy. It was like everybody was doing the same thing. So I wouldn't even pay attention to the field. I just looked up at the clock, right to my left. And the head judge kept coming over to me. And I had a feeling it was because like of yesterday, like the wrong weights.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, she's probably like thinking like, yo, this guy's trying to get one by. But it was just the overextension of the lockout. You just basically lost so much, I feel, out of it. It was just such a smooth workout. It really was. It really hit home, like in the 50 GHDs, how you come out flying, right? You do the 10 wall balls, they're just there for nothing. Then you go right into 50 GHDs. And I start trying to move fast. And then I look to my left and right at my peripheral vision, and I'm like, Marquand's moving smooth.
Yeah.
I'm going to slow my cadence down.
Yeah.
So I immediately slowed my cadence down. I did plan a break. So just to say, like, I'm playing my own game, I did take that break just because I planned on doing it.
Yep.
And it was just a workout of smoothness. But deeper into the workout, once you got through those 30 ring muscle ups, those 200 double under, like it was crazy how different.
It's a lot in one set.
Yeah.
Like I've done a workout where you had to do 300 straight, and again, like the first 100 aren't bad, but that was not near the fatigue that you were in. Did you go into it trying to pace them like, hey, try to get to 50, try to get to 100, or you just do them until you trip up?
The goal was honestly like just do 30s or something. Just go bigger than 25.
Yeah.
You're just jumping rope. Just out there, it just felt like very exerting.
What was the
Very
weather
exerting.
like? What was the weather like?
Weather's beautiful.
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect. Heavy wind. The turf was a little hotter.
So I saw that they gave you a lot of these rubber platforms to lift on, workout on, where I've seen Granite games in the past. I've seen the games where you are doing stuff on turf. What was the footing like? Did you feel like you were prepped for that?
They were softer.
Okay.
More soft, but not nothing drastic.
Okay.
They were very fair.
Okay.
You're not going like from a gym floor to a trampoline. It was just that moderate. It's different, but it's good enough that we're prepared for this.
Were you happy with the performance on the Minnesota mashup?
I was, except for the double unders falling apart so sloppily, and the ring muscle ups I let get out of hand past the 21 round. And that was basically because of the exaggeration of just locking out. So my triceps fatigued, and that caused me to take two more sets more break than I wanted to. But I did hit 10s in the wall balls in training because I guess I came out too hot, and I guess I did the same thing there that I did in training. It's 10 on the wall balls in that 40 and 50 round.
Okay.
But the double unders, definitely, it's like, you got to be able to jump rope, dude. You're at this level now.
Yep. After workout, that's really, really tough. Even here at Bison, I like to really just like shut my mouth and just listen to people talk. Like, and some of it's funny. People like bitching about the workout, how hard it was, but I really do like to just hear feedback on a really tough workout. Was there any dialogue after that workout? Because as a group, that one looked like it was the one that beat you guys up the most as a whole group. Was there any kind of feedback dialogue going on after that workout, or was it like, hey, let's get out of here?
There was when we walked off the stage, people were just shot. It hammered the field. Just seeing people's reactions sitting on the bench on the football field, and it's just like, yo, I'm not doing one hurting like this. So I guess the playing field's even, but we're all feeling the same. The hip flexors were shot, the legs were shot,
triceps,
triceps. And I was doing my wall balls, and I'm going ass to grass, and I'm not trying to cheat standards at all. And the head judge is like, Joe, lower.
Are you serious?
Lower.
Yeah, so they're coming at you, huh?
Coming at me. And I'm like, I'm not even close to first in this workout right now.
Yeah.
Coming at me. And then she walks away, the head judge, and my judge is like, yo, you're good, dude. I don't know what she's talking about. And I'm like, I'm not trying to like cheat depth at all. And I'm hammering depth right now.
There's a lot of talk right now between Hiller, Savan, and just judging in general. It's just like a hot topic right now, and rightfully so. I'm on that side. And I wonder if there's a lot of pressure on judges now, and the head judge. They're like, everything is on the internet now. So if you're letting things skate by, you're gonna get called out. And I wonder if that whole lift, not that we all know you as a person, you would never try to sneak one by and go for 335, right? And not put the 10.
Especially because you have two judges looking at what
I
you're
know.
doing.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
how do you freaking cheat on that?
Yeah, it was a miscommunication.
I
all
wonder
around.
if it just put you on the radar a little bit, and they were just like trying to make not an example out of you, because it's not like anyone knows about this other than this podcast, but maybe it was just like you were on their radar. And because I've seen you move, dude, I've never ever thought anything about.
I think it's a favoritism. Let's put it this way. In the NBA, the big stars get some slack.
Yeah.
And if you're the rookie, they're going to like sort of harsh on you a little bit. And I feel like
that's a good point.
The head judge was like, okay, here's a rookie. You're on my radar and I'm going to give you a hard time when it was undeserved.
Yeah.
And especially when your own judge is like, you're doing okay.
Yeah,
like,
right, exactly. I'm glad your judge said that to you.
Yeah, I mean, like the one thing about the head judge though is like I felt a new depth of my squat that I never reached before. I mean, my quads were cranking because I was just I was like, screw my joints, I'm smashing depth, like
bouncing. Yeah,
I was hitting depth that I never hit before because of that. Like,
that's funny. Woo. So you had the speed chipper next. About how long did you have? I ask about this one in particular because everyone was so mangled after it. About how long did you have before the speed chipper, which Sam will give you in a sec?
probably 4 hours.
4 hours. Okay. Sam, what was the workout?
It was a 120-yard shuttle run, 16 snatches at 175, 36 chest to bars, 160-yard shuttle run, 36 chest to bars, 16 snatches, 120-yard shuttle run, time cap 10 minutes. Top three were Colton Mertens, Travis Mayer, Anthony Davis, 726 to 748, and you got 928. 17th place.
I remember us talking about this workout with you, and I remember you saying, we were like, what's your plan on snatches? Like, Joe dominates the barbell. Like, are you going to try to go touch and go? Mm-hmm. And then I remember watching it and like, wow, surprised how many guys were doing singles right away on the snatches. Mm-hmm. Do you think that was carryover from Minnesota mashup?
No.
Okay. Do you think that was everyone's plan?
I'll tell you what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're warming up. Everybody's touching and going. Couple females come running in the back. Singles. Singles. And I'm like thinking, I plan on going like 7.
Yeah. You said 9.6.
Yeah. I was like, my legs are hurting, but when you're out there, you're out there. We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they're like singles. The fastest girls are getting singles. And
Because they're dominating the chest bar?
Yeah, it was such a chest bar workout, and it really was. But it was like one of those workouts where you do the first 120-yard shuttle run. You know, it wasn't fast. Whoever won that didn't mean nothing. But then the singles, I'm just like pissed off in the workout. Like, am I really doing singles right now? This was not my plan at all. But I was just trying to learn. Like,
hell yeah, bro.
Because they did it. They just did it, and they come running back there. They said singles. Everybody's doing singles. So I'm like, say no more. I'm just gonna listen.
Yeah.
And I hate singles personally because I like the stretch reflex coming off the ground. With just bing bing.
If you time touch and go well, it literally makes the movement easier.
Yeah,
inertia.
It doesn't have to do a bouncing. It's just like you just come from a dead stop every time.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's really interesting that happened. That happened to me at Legends before, where there was a workout that started off with 50 dumbbell squats, and I was like, all right, definitely gonna break these up. And then I go out there, and my coach was there, and he goes, yo, everyone went unbroken last set. And it changes you in a moment. Right. You have 10 seconds to think about it, and you're like, you know what? I kind of have to do it. Now, looking back on it, do you regret going singles, or do you regret not trying to go touch and go, or do you think it was the smart move?
I don't, but what I should have did is, singles was fine on the snatches in the first set. On the back set of snatches, I would have liked to do probably twos. Yeah. Because that's what Mallory did.
Yep. Saw that. Yep.
Twos.
Mal O'Brien.
But what I did is I went to 12 on singles and on the back half of snatches.
Yes.
So the second set of snatches, I was at 12.
Yep.
And I took an extra, let's say, 5 seconds of break. I saw the judge's hand up to my left. I saw the judge's hand up to my right for Marquand and the guy that was next to me. And I said, well, we get to touch and go now. Yeah. So then I touch and go the last 4, and it just brought me ahead of him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
So just for those that don't know, when the judge puts their hand up, that means there's 5 reps left. Yeah. So that's something, again, you could see in the peripheral. Like if you see someone else's judge put their hands up, there are 5 reps left, and that can, because you usually don't know how many reps people are on unless you can hear the actual judge next to you. But that's the visual that there's no leaderboard you can look at. Like, oh, I'm in 5th place now, I'm in 6th place now. You get that visual cue of like, all right, someone's got 5 reps left, and that's awesome that you were able to go for. I want to ask a question about that workout, because this is like one of my favorite memes of all time is a guy eating Cheetos and fudge on a couch watching the CrossFit Games and with a voice saying, "Should have went unbroken."
Yeah.
When I was watching that, and this is girls, guys, like first heat, fourth heat, right? You guys, it looks like you guys are running so slow in between.
We were.
Now, what's the like? Do you think that's like, hey, we're just CrossFitters, especially that level? A lot of us don't run at that level, or a lot of you guys don't run that much. Do you think there was time to be had there if you ran a little quicker?
The legs were so heavy.
Yeah, was that it was? It wasn't breathing. You guys didn't look like you were sucking one that much.
The legs just felt heavy.
So you couldn't open up the stride.
Yeah, it was weird because after the second set of snatches, like on the final run, the legs were especially heavy.
Yeah.
But coming off the chest to bar, you felt that like walk or that slight run to the bar, and you're like, my legs were heavy.
Okay.
So even after the chest to bar, you're like, well, I'm just gonna run, and I don't want to blow up for the snatches. Especially with legs.
Yeah, you don't want to be staring at the bar. That's like the number one thing in that workout. That's where like I like getting that feedback from him because you need to hear that. Someone that actually did the work, right? Like someone sitting on a couch in Florida, probably having a drink.
Should have run faster.
Why aren't they running faster? All right, so that was the end of day 2, and that was nighttime. Or close to nighttime for you,
That
right?
was nighttime. Nighttime events were just beautiful weather.
I was gonna say, was it pretty cool under the lights like that?
Yeah, it was great. It was perfect environment. I mean, you're not feeling the heat from a turf.
What was the crowd like?
The crowd was packed Saturday night.
Yeah,
it was
cool.
a good one. Yeah, that was the ones I was looking for with the lift and that one. So it ended up great. But the thing is, it was a chest to bar workout. I'm saying one last thing.
Yeah.
Colton Mertens went unbroken in both 36 and just smoked the field.
Amazing.
Now, you mentioned that the women athletes were giving you guys some tips after they finished. Was there any interaction with the women athletes other than sort of like them giving you guys some feedback about the workouts or anything?
Yeah, Vicky Caruso from CrossFit Roseland, who also trains with Marquand.
Yep.
I was just hanging with them pretty much, close to home, and we've seen each other, spoke before, so definitely talk to them. Anybody else? No, I didn't really see how the girls were communicating between each other, because usually when you go to these comps, the untold thing is right, the girls are so serious, right, and the guys are just like joking around. Soak really too much of that in, because all like the high level girls, or essentially the ones with the coaches there, were just so on point with their warm-ups.
Okay. So now we go into day 2, and this one also looked pretty tough. Indoor the sled, and I remember talking to you about this one prior to going out, and just how much you were shocked. Like the first combination of sled plus burpees really jacked the heart rate up, and you couldn't get it back down. That sled looked like really hard. Did you know it was going to be that tough?
Yeah, well, so they had a practice field inside the dome, the Vikings.
Okay.
So we warmed up in there.
Okay.
And then we came out onto the field and did it. Inside, it was so much harder to push.
Oh, really?
I'm talking resistance times 10.
Just because of the ground surface?
The ground surface. It was turf, but the ground surface was so
probably.
different.
Yeah.
It was so different.
Okay.
But
that's good then, right? Were you guys freaking out before?
yeah, because we're like, oh man.
What was the footwear for that one?
The footwear, I wanted to wear high top so I could try to flat high top nobles.
Yep.
Just so I could flat foot the ground rather than try to go for my tippy toes.
Yeah. Were you slipping at all?
I wasn't slipping so much because I tried getting low and hugging it, but I was on my tippy toes so much that it just blew me up, and the position I started pushing in so low just blew my back out.
Cool. Sam, go over that workout real quick.
Yeah. What was the sled weight, by the way?
It's a 245.
245?
Yeah, I think the sled is 200, and they threw a 45-pound on there.
Okay, so it was a 50-yard sled push, 30 lane facing burpees, 50-yard sled push, 1,000-meter run, 100 cal echo bike, 1,000-meter run, 50-yard sled drag, 30 lane facing burpees, 50-yard sled drag, time cap 27 minutes. Fikowski, Woodring, and Sam Kwant finished all about 2011 to 2051. They were the top 3. And you did 26-26.
They changed the pulls to the push because I think they realized.
Right. There was no dragging.
Yeah, there was no dragging.
Oh,
Yeah,
so it was all push.
It was all push.
Yeah, I think they realized how hard
too hard.
the pull actually was, that you're not doing 100 yards of this.
Yeah.
Deep in a workout.
Yeah, that's a long distance to push the sled in one shot. And like even the top athletes, they had to break it up the second time through.
Yeah, hitting it in training, coming out, I blew up in training on the first 50
I remember
yards.
you telling me that, yep.
So I was like, I'm going to slow it down. So I'm pushing it, like trying to push it slow out of the first 50 yards. And I look to my left, and I guess there's 4 guys to my left. They're ahead of me. I look to my right. Everybody's ahead of me, and I lock eyes with Colton Mertens, and we're just at the back for like the beginning. And I'm like, I just put my head down. And I'm like, you got to keep going.
Yeah,
it's uncomfortable though, but you got to keep going.
That was one cool about this event. One cool thing: all the guys went at once.
All 30.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I hope that some people saw that. And hey, it's logistics are a part of this, how big the rig is. I think semifinals and just CrossFit competition would be so much more fun to watch and efficient if you can get everyone going at once.
Yeah, shout out to Flip Sled for bringing 30 sleds up.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
Yeah, that was probably an 18-wheeler full of those things. So, all right, so that's pretty cool. I wanted to ask you what your pace was on the bike, because I remember in training you said you were around 63 to 65 RPM. Were you able to hold that?
Yeah, 65, 67.
Awesome, man.
I felt behind, so I started pushing 70 from like 60 to 90, and then I just tethered it back to 65. But I was just in such a hole there. All my running basically has been on an air runner because every weekend has been raining, and I just, rather than let's not get wet, I got a double session.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
And just running, I did lose ground because people that were behind me became in front of me on the running.
Right.
And I just felt heavy. Tough lead up on my end.
Yeah, that's part of the reflection we'll talk to you about after the events. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that one, so you thought that was harder than the Minnesota mashup?
Yeah, our bodies were just taxed at that point.
It's also
and
day 3. Yeah.
And you're just crushing even more, and just the position of the sled, just my lower back wasn't having it.
Okay.
Were you shooting? What do you think about your performance? Were you okay with it? Did you feel like you should have?
No, but I found out if you in last place, you get plenty of airtime on the live stream. So definitely not happy, especially knowing where I'm at. I know that was a limiter, obviously the cardio stuff, because I've been really focusing on strength and just like we'll talk about more stuff later, diving into my just health and nutrition leading into it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, and now the last event was the other one that was all the same for everyone. The 2014 regional event number 5, 10 rounds for time, 1 legless rope climb, 170-foot run, 11-minute time cap. Lugos, Travis Mayer, and Sam Kwant were 259, 303, 304, and you finished 504.
I got to say, I PR'd my time out there.
Yeah,
Nice.
baby.
You were worried about those legless.
You were worried about that one.
Yeah.
Oh, rightfully so, because every time I practiced, I did this workout 4 times. My slowest one was like 640 because I started failing reps, and then my fastest one was 520, and then I go out there, I hit 5, but it's like that's still a minute and a half off of everybody's pace.
Yeah,
and it shows.
Yeah, no, it's funny how listening to some guys that did this at regionals in 2014. They like Froning, like the elite of the elite, right? He was saying he doesn't think it's a good workout because it's too easy for the elite of the elite. And every now and then you come across a certain type of workout where you see the gap between yourself and it's good for you because it's going to make you hammer in on some things and
got a year.
And you have to figure out like what can you do, because a lot of people that did this in 2014 have gotten 2-3 minutes faster than they were back then. Yeah. And it's simple. It's not hard, extensive. It's not complex work to get better at legless rope climbs. There's a lot of you can do with like pulling strength, but you just got to do them more, right? And it's a different kind of pulling strength than a pull up or a muscle up. What were your immediate reflections after that workout?
My immediate reflection was I'm going to wear a DJs and Belmar crop top because I know that this ain't going to be too hot of a workout going out for me because there's just time, right? It's time. Yeah. I know my times are off.
Right.
So I'm just going to have some fun, take some heat off of it, and just do what I can.
Awesome, man.
And right from there, right out the gate, everybody started sprinting. I ran, but as soon as I came down from that, I knew like I had to just play my own game because I would have been failing.
At what round? So it's 10 rounds of 1 legless rope climb and 120-foot shuttle run, Sam? 170-foot shuttle run. At what round were you saying, all right, I have to slow down my run so that I can recover the legless?
It was just 4 for me. It was just like, I guess, all the volume. It really was.
Yeah.
It was that or I'd failed because I pushed that point in training and I felt that coming.
Yep. You see this almost in every semifinal. You don't want to be the person that's failing because when you fail a rep, it basically, you just have to stand there for a minute. That's really what it comes down to. And you want to avoid that stage.
And the work done being that rep is essentially for nothing.
Yeah, you get no credit for it. Yep. Been there. Yep. So that's the end of the comp right there. And you're standing on the field, just got done with the Granite Games 2022 among some of the best athletes in the world, maybe even potential 2022 Games winners.
Yep.
What was like the immediate emotion of it being over?
Relieved. Like, man, all that work's done.
Yeah.
Like,
does it go fast?
It went obviously looking back it goes fast, but in the moment it felt long because they started us off with the briefing so early in the morning, and then we had to go home.
What'd you do all day?
Relax.
Yeah,
nothing. Chill.
Yeah.
Try to take a nap.
Mm-hmm. What was the nutrition like days of?
Nutrition leading up fine, but as soon as you got out there, the nerves, man, appetite's down the drain.
Yeah.
I couldn't even eat. And I went from, I was just yakking and just so uncomfortable. I couldn't do anything solid, so I was liquidating everything.
Yep.
And then it would just come right out of me. So I was just chasing the bottom. I would be lucky if I had 1,000 calories in before I even started the workouts.
Wow.
I really just ate dinner for the most part.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat. I was
How'd you
nervous.
sleep?
Sleep was the greatest thing of all time.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah, my sleep's terrible. I probably sleep 6 hours to 5 hours a night, but there I was sleeping 10.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Did you feel injured at all after the whole thing?
No, I felt just deep soreness in my legs and just lats being sore, and that's really it. Soreness went away pretty quick.
Okay, that's good. Now, when you have this, talk with your coach and you start reflecting, it takes me a long time to like really sit and think, like, what do you want to do? What do you need to do? How are you going to get this done? I know there's probably a laundry list of things. What are maybe your 2 or 3 things that you're really looking at and like, all right, I have a really strong foundation now, and I have also objective results of the elite that where I stand with certain workouts. What are you looking at yourself from now? What are you and your coach looking at in terms of what to start working on and how you're going to go about it?
Moderate strength. Strength's there. Definitely all percentage lifts. And obviously when the 1 rep max is there under the spotlight, I'll be able to hit it in comp. So if I just lift within reasonable percentages of that, strength will be maintained. But the bulk of the time's got to be spent on cardio.
Okay. Long work or
long cardio. I was joking around with him. I said, I got to train for an Ironman with you, man, in order. I'll be great next year. Just let me train for an Ironman all year.
Yep. I know. I was on New Year's Eve, I believe. I went out to Sean's gym and I did this crazy workout. I think it was 2,022 cals on the ski, row, and C2 bike in a team of 3. But it took, I forget, I think it was close to 3 hours. I was with Matt and Nicole Malone. And him and Nils, they love that stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I got to get on their level with that stuff, man.
Now, are you looking at machine work, or do you look at the running, not even just because of the results of the workout, but just think about endurance in general? Like, I've always felt that the best way to really, truly enhance the engine is running.
I agree completely. So I went out yesterday and bought a pair of running shoes.
Fair, baby, let's go.
You're not running in flat top Nobles or whatever?
No, not my high tops that I wore.
Nice.
First pair after 6 years of CrossFit.
So that's going to be something you take on this summer? Start running around a little bit?
Yeah, it's going to be the goal's 2 times of running.
2 times a week?
Going to be obviously variated, and lifting's going to be more moderate and just more consistent, and just finding that smoothness in longer mixed modal pieces too, because it really was about smoothness in those long chippers. It wasn't about speed at all.
Awesome. That's gonna be fun to see you take that on, because that takes a lot of work, and it's time too.
You got to feel confident that you belong here and that you are an elite athlete based on your experiences and what you saw. Do you not feel that way?
Yeah, I was on the opposite side of the spectrum. When I was able to move fast back in, like, I would say 3 years ago, I didn't have the top end strength. And the strength took so long to develop, because if you're never lifting it, you're not going to lift it there really within. So being able to hang with some of the big dogs in strength, it's like, okay, now conditioning can happen. It just takes time within reason of the year, especially when that's my goal. And it could easily happen.
That's what you hear a lot of elite coaches say. It's like the strength can take. They'd rather work with a really strong athlete and develop the engine, just because the amount of time for you to get from your engine from, let's say your rate out of a 1 to 10 scale. Let's say your engine's a 5 out of 10. You can get to a 7 or 8, no doubt, before this time next year. Where the strength, if it was a 4 out of 10, it would take 3 years to get to 7, 8 out of 10.
Where's your confidence level now after completing the Granite Games, doing what you're doing? Where are you sitting right now in terms of how you feel?
I feel like confidence level is not 100% at the peak yet, but as I start attacking more cardio stuff, it'll definitely get there, knowing I have the top end strength.
You can get there. Like, based on your performance, that you can do better, first of all, and 2, you can compete amongst the most elite of these elite athletes. Don't you feel that way after what you did?
Yeah, I feel like I deserve to be there. Obviously, I had some flaws, but we're gonna try to fill some holes for next year.
Yeah, because, dude, in my eyes, you made semifinals 2 years in a row. Last year with like the no rep stuff on the GHD, like that had no that was not a lack of fitness there. That was kind of like a weird standard that you got penalized a little too much for. In my eyes, you made semifinals 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I wish I had that experience last year, because it would have been obviously different time in life, and it would have been either something different with the emotions a year earlier, and just getting that whole experience a year earlier.
So that experience of being in person among the elite competition, is there any thought of you potentially trying to, let's use Wadapalooza for example, trying to qualify for something else only not for the sake of winning Wadapalooza, but for the sake of just getting in front of guys and next to guys at that level to enhance the experience level that you have at a semifinal?
Yeah, definitely got to do some more individual comps just to test that. It may be Wadapalooza or something else.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I will do Wadapalooza again after the amount of struggles I've had since Wadapalooza with just staying healthy. And
Yeah, it's a tough time of year.
I would love to go individual there because that brings,
Yes.
the prize pool brings money and
Yeah, it does.
everybody goes out there. But yeah, it's just, it's serious out there. It really is.
Yeah. Life changes coming up in the next few months. Are you trying to draw out routines yet, plans yet, or do you want to stay in the zone where you're at right now with like when you train, what days you train, what days you don't train? Well, any thoughts on that?
A life change coming up, it's going to have to do with balance. Essentially, probably eliminating some days at the gym, getting some stuff at home.
Yep.
And essentially just trying to, kill that commute time because to go into work, it's like an hour. I'm probably in a car overall 2.5 hours a day. And if I cut that down, it would be like, it'd be more balanced because I could be obviously home more.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, I think a lot of athletes at your level, they do start to realize it's not always more that's needed. It might just be like if certain life changes come your way and you just have less time, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose your fitness. It probably will end up meaning that you just need to be very diligent and about what like the time that you're spending at the gym, not wasting time, getting off the phone, not hanging out with people. It's got to almost feel like a part-time job almost.
Yeah, it's got to flow. It's just got to flow. You can't add the fluff in the middle. It's got to be A, B, C, D, E out.
Yeah. So you said you wanted to reflect a little bit on just your nutrition leading up to the Granite Games, what you did, where your body's at right now. Like you said before, like you're feeling like thick and strong. Do you want to change that at all, or are just minor tweaks here and there? Are you not sure yet?
Yeah, goal competition weight always been 190, 195.
Okay.
Sitting around 210 when I competed, that's the heaviest I've been in my life, solely on the fact of me just not being 100% as strict. And just pretty much I underate on the weekends, and for some reason I would nail my macros Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday I would like severely undereat, whether I'm not eating or drinking enough water. Monday I would gain a pound a week essentially.
Yeah.
And those last 5 weeks, I don't know why it was just sticking to me, but I went from 205 to just seeing 210, and I was like, I'm trying, but it's like
Some of that stuff is stress related, dude. It really is. And like if your mind's not like if your mind's just stressed about, and stress to me, it's not always about like, oh, I'm upset or angry. It's like your mind's running all the time with like how you have to balance. You're not a pro athlete. You don't get to just train all day. You have to go to work, spend 2.5 hours in the car. You sleep 5 to 6 hours a night. And then obviously just the anxiety of an upcoming competition, like that alone could add 7 pounds, right?
Yeah, I try not to think about that or put it like I feel like having control over everything is like where it's at,
Yeah.
But something like a stressor.
Yep.
It's like I just don't want to accept it because I feel like when you're doing everything in your power and you're putting so much effort into something, you don't want to let that get in the way, but it's just inevitable.
Yes. Yeah, it's life. Yep.
Did you see any athletes there that you said, wow, these guys perform the way I might want to perform, or they act or conduct themselves in a way that I think is pretty cool, and that's what I would want to do too?
Yeah, being in the same heat as Chandler, you've seen him throughout the years, and even it felt like the final heat to me, just being a heat with him.
Yeah.
Obviously, even though there was a heat after it, but just seeing the way he moves, and obviously, there's some mobility that can improve, but just the heart and the grind and just the willing to just embrace it and just suffer in the moment. It's just it's a skill to develop. And honestly, with that, I feel like I did lose some of like that gritty, that grind with just so much pacing work and just so much repeated outputs.
Being by yourself too.
Yeah, being by myself, it just you don't really have that push day in and day out, especially with people in the gym doing different programs.
Right. So anything else, Sam?
No,
Joe, is there anything? Yeah, anything
I want to
else?
say I am so impressed with your performance.
Me too,
I think
dude.
you outdid yourself. I think you established yourself as a legitimate elite athlete. The improvements that you see for yourself coming up are all things that every elite athlete, I think, if you've ever seen their path in terms of how they got there, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, I was going to say there are guys that made it from this group that when they first started semifinals Wadapalooza, they're 20, 25th, 30, 35th place, and or regionals back in the day. And it's the difference between the guys that kind of flame out from there or end up being top 10, top 5. They just kept their foot on the gas.
And the fact that you've been at this for 3 years now, denied 2 times in a row.
Yep.
shows you should have been there 2 years in a row already. And
mentally and physically, you're there.
When I was thinking of the podcast, and you said basically what was the biggest bummer about those years were I was robbed of experience. And hearing you talk about the Granite Games, it was a wealth of experience in terms of just head-to-head competition with these elite guys. And in 2 years, next year and the year after, I can't imagine how much better you're going to be just because you got so much better just by this one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the scores speak for themselves. You see the 20th places, you see where the top 10 finishes at, and the goal is the best average, not to be strong. Yeah, it's great. I'm in the wrong sport if I just want to be strong. So it's completely I got to build some more engine here and just probably come down a couple pounds, just move a lot smoother.
But I'm telling you, from a guy that's I've always been on the weaker side when it comes to competition. I'd much rather be in your position, have that elite level strength. And when I say elite, like you are there, you are the elite of the elite with strength on the barbell in CrossFit competition. The other stuff, it can come. It really can.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the strength and just all that time I put in.
And you earned it, dude. You earned that the hard way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I would say I'm happier to be on this side because I did feel like growing up in the sport and not being on the strong side, but being able to do 100 burpees as fast as I can.
Yeah.
But not having a top end strength, I always wanted a top end strength.
Yeah, and you got it now, dude.
Yeah, it's progress. It's progressing and.
Now it's time to get back to work at some point. But I want to echo Sam. I'm proud of you, dude. Had a pleasure watching you. I feel like I'm like watching almost like a little brother grow up right now, just because I've known him for so long in the CrossFit competition space. And again, it was so cool to watch you next to those guys at the Granite Games. And better days are ahead for you, dude. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely earned, not given. That's Granite Games slogan out there. And there's got to be a lot of work to be done on my end, too. I definitely don't want to take the pats on the back too softly because then it's going to soften up a little too much.
Yeah, dude, I'll say this. In a couple weeks, this shit is last year, and it just doesn't matter anymore. But right now, it matters, and I want you to be proud of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, in a couple weeks, I'm not even going to talk about this anymore.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But right now, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pat on the back. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to listen to the HERDFIT podcast. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.